Hello, beautiful people. Honest Am here, the creator and writer of the Honestly Sis newsletter, a bi-weekly newsletter geared towards millennials who are truly trying to get their shit together. And I'm here for another daily motivational video where we use the tarot to become the alchemist of our lives. A little bit about me. I do not just use the tarot. I use God and cusses in the same sentence, and I may mispronounce some things, but if it does not stop Charlamagne of God, it will not stop me. Angel number 19. So guys, this is going to be our final alchemist reading. I really thought we were going to keep it going, but then I got the thing that it's only going to be 12. So this is the last one. So let's go to God and ask God, how do we become the alchemist of our lives? Please give us the tools, insights, and guidance. This is going to be our last one, God. So I ask that you please deliver these messages to me and through me as clear as possible. Allow no room for doubt or confusion to enter me or the viewer's mind. God, I ask that if any of my viewers, ancestors, guardian angels, or beings of light would like to step in, that they you allow them to come in. Know that they are more than welcome. Beings of light only. In God's name I pray. Ashe. All right, y'all. We have made it. Angel number 113. Look at me. I done completed something God asked me to do. One thing, one thing. It's okay. I'm still working on the book. So, God, the two things that, the overall, actually, let's just, Angel 133. All right, God, 3 more cards. How do we become the alchemist of our life? This is the final reading of the Alchemist series, God. What do you want us to know? Clarify this message of intuition and truth, God. Clarify the message of intuition and truth. 3 cards only, God. One more. One more. One more. One more, God. All right. I love when he listens. All right, y'all. So, I think this is going to be a good one. Wow. I'm excited. All right. So the first message that came out was intuition, angel number 213. Trust your intuition. It has been guiding you to the answers you seek. I mean, I feel like that makes sense. This is the final series. I mean, this is the final message of our Alchemist series. As I told you guys, becoming the alchemist is trying to change your life. It is trying to live your best life. It is, manifesting your wildest dreams. Like, to become the alchemist is literally anything that you think about, you can bring about. That is what it means to be the alchemist. I look at Jay. I feel like Jay's an alchemist. B, Drake. I mean, it's pretty obvious who the alchemists are, right? So, this series is all about teaching us how to do that. And I feel like the last message that God wants you to know, there is no becoming the alchemist without trusting your intuition. And to take it a step further, there is no becoming the alchemist without understanding your emotions. Angel number 310. You can't, people are trying to, cut off their feelings. People want to be zombies and all this stuff. But there is no becoming the alchemist without being aware of your feelings. God wouldn't put us in his body. He wouldn't give us feelings if they weren't valuable, if they weren't helping us in some type of way. Your feelings is your emotional guidance system. Your feelings, your emotions are energy in motion. Once you start to understand that, once you understand that your feelings are not a curse, but they're your friends, they're telling you something, they're giving you some type of insight, then you'll be on your way. Then you'll be able to trust your intuition. Then you'll be able to bring anything about because you can, you trust yourself, right? Underneath this is clarity. God is saying, once you understand your intuition, once you understand your emotions, now you have clarity, right? Mind, body, spirit. I tell you this all the time. Creations happens in 3 steps. First happens in the thoughts that you think, the words that you speak, and the actions that you take. Now God is reversing this, and he's saying the thoughts that you think, that inspiration, that intuition, that's your thoughts, right? Understanding your body is your emotions. And then it'll give you the clarity so that you can walk in the directions that you want. Do you hear what I'm saying? in order to trust your intuition, you have to understand your emotions, because if you block your emotions, then you're not getting your intuition. And in order to trust your intuition, you have to actually act on your intuition. You have to have a clarity that this is for my intuition. I'm acting on it, right? The last thing that God is saying, there has to be an obedience. Wow. Wow. God is teaching you how to understand your intuition. He's saying your intuition is guiding you to the answers you seek. So learn to understand your emotions and understand the information that I am trying to give you. Learn to trust your intuition. Gain an understanding about how you and your intuition communicate with yourself. Once you learn how to understand how you and your intuition communicate with itself, it'll give you more clarity on your relationship that you have with God. Because right now you don't feel like you don't feel like you can trust your intuition, or you don't feel like you can trust this spiritual side, and it's because you haven't done that work. You haven't gained that understanding that you're a spiritual being. God is trying to teach you how to really walk this spiritual life out. And he said, in order to walk it out, in order to be the alchemist, you have to understand your intuition. You have to use it to give you clarity. You have to use it to, not to give you clarity, you have to use it to take clear action towards your goal. And then you have to be obedient. In order to figure out how to use your intuition or how to trust your intuition, you just got to use it. And it's going to be, in the beginning, it's going to seem crazy. Because it's going to be like, matter of fact, today I was like in the shower and I know I have to like go to Target, and it's telling my body is like, I can see as clear as day. It's telling me to go to this Target that's all the way on the west side, engine number 655. And I've never gone to this. I mean, I went to this Target a couple of times, but it's like, why am I going over there? And at first I'm probably be like, oh, I'm overthinking it. But I'm like, oh, no. I'm going to be obedient, because I don't know what the fuck is supposed to happen at that Target over there. I don't know why God is telling me to go in that direction. But I know that I have to be obedient and follow through with where he's asking me to go. That's what I'm saying. It's like, until you get this clarity on understanding, like, oh, that's my intuition. It's like, because I feel like for somebody, okay, let me calm down. I feel like this is the message for someone who's like, I don't understand, how do I differentiate my intuition and God versus my thoughts, right? Because you feel like they're all the same, which they are. I don't know, stay with me. But this is how I know my intuition. How I know my intuition from me thinking. I feel like there's a thought. I mean, there's a feeling that comes with it, which again is about understanding your emotions and being receptive to your emotions. So if I get a thought and it makes me feel something, then that gives me clarity that, oh, that's not just me thinking, that's coming from somewhere else. So let me be obedient and follow through on where this intuition is trying to take me. You hear what I'm saying? You're not going to know if it's right or wrong until you do it. And you have to just keep trusting it and keep doing it until you can fine tune it. In the beginning, it is going to be like, it's going to be confusing until you really learn how to listen to your emotions and like be able to isolate that feeling. And I don't want to confuse you, because you're like, isolate that feeling. But it really is like, it's a thought with a feeling. Like, that's how I know it's God. I'm like, okay, that's God. Angel number 845, like, or whatever words you want to use. What was I about to say? What really helped me, and it's so funny because my coworker was like, I felt like, she literally told me, like, I felt like angel number 905, when we started doing yoga, you just like went to this other level. And she's right, because, and she's right, she's true. And she's right, because when I started doing yoga taught me what my energy feels like, right? Yoga, I love yoga so much because it's all about you being on your mat. You being in your world, not worrying about nobody else, where nobody else is doing. At least that was the type of yoga studio I was in. And sometimes I would just get on there and I would have my eyes closed to have the whole class. Like, I wouldn't even know what the fuck anybody's doing. I'm just on my mat doing my thing. And it got me to be really in tune with my feelings and my emotions. And I knew what my energy felt like. Let me give you an example. Let me pause the story, right? So I was doing yoga like every day at lunchtime for like a year. And I would like I started to notice like, you know, maybe like 3 or 4 months in that I would like do yoga. I would feel like amazing. But then by the end of the day, like I would just feel like something was just on me. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, why am I feeling so good at yoga? And then by the end of the day, I'm like feeling like shit or whatever. And so one time, I'm like, this is really bothering me, right? So one time this is when we were in the office, so pre-COVID, we're in this conference room, and my coworker, she just breaks, like, we just talking about, like, oh, what you do this weekend, and my coworker, the girl who sits behind me, just busts out crying, and she's like, I'm so sorry, like, I just had another miscarriage, and I keep having miscarriages, and blah, 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 blah. And like just reveal pretty much like she's going through like this really, you know, heavy ass shit. And that's when I realized, oh, that's why I was like feeling like shit by the end of the day, because her energy was like leaking over to like my desk. And so I end up, now that I had that clarity, angel number 1111, I started to wear crystals to work, to like ground my energy down, protect my energy. I also had got like some Florida water, and like a day or like before she had came in here, I like just sprayed our area down. And I also gave her a candle and stuff like to help her work through it. But I wouldn't have realized that that wasn't even happening if I wasn't in yoga. And because yoga taught me, like, when you're in Savasana and this is just your energy, you just like, damn, like, you know, when you feel good, you're feeling your energy. Like, that's your natural, you know, I just realized, like, my natural frequency is love. Like, I just feel fucking good. Like, my energy is good. Like, I can, like, sleep in myself, you know? And so I learned that from yoga. So whenever I am like I get off, I figure out like, okay, so what's happening? Like who did I interact with? What energy am I taking on? So that helps me fine tune my intuition. I know that was a lot, but I hope you caught it. Last thing, God's saying truth. See your light, know your power, have the courage to walk into your truth. And so that all of this is just God is saying that you are the alchemist of your life. You have the power to bring heaven on earth. You have the power to literally make the impossible possible. The only limitations that you have on yourself is the limitations that you put in your mind. And so God is saying, if you want to change your life, if you are like, I'm tired of living like this, I can't live like this no more. I don't want to live like my mama. I don't want to have a 9-to-5. Like I want to have joy. Like I want to live however the fuck you want to live. God is saying you got to trust your intuition. You got to trust your feelings. You got to have that clarity to make clear, conscious choices and to be obedient to what your intuition is telling you. And if you do that and have the courage to walk in your truth, you will become the alchemist of your life. All right. Angel number 1313. Let's get some cards out here really quickly to just clarify this message of intuition, understanding, clarity, and obedience with truth. God, how do we become the alchemist of our life? How do we learn to trust our intuition? What is our energy towards our trusting our intuition, understanding our emotion, making clear action towards our goal, and being obedient to the calling on our life, God? Do we have the courage to walk in our truth? What guidance or insight do you have for us to become the alchemist of our life? Please make this as plain as possible. I mean, like, even I like literally just wrote an article for Honestly Sis about, what was it called? What if life is one big adventure? And I was talking about how I pretty much thought like I had my road set out. I'm like, okay, God told me to do the YouTube channel. He told me to he told me to do the YouTube channel. He told me to do the Honestly Sis, work on my book. Okay, I got everything I need to do. Like, that's a lot of stuff to do, and I'm just gonna be obedient and just seeing this through, right? No. So then I'm like, I get this other ping, my intuition. I was looking at something and my intuition spoke to me, and I was just like, am I supposed to do this? And it's something that like directly lines up to a childhood dream. Like, it makes so much sense. Like, It actually makes sense why these other like inspiration stuff was coming to me. And right when I was about to doubt and be like, no, I'm tripping, I'm in my mind, I looked at the clock, angel number 1504. 1504. And it said 444. And 444 is all about being in the right place at the right time. It's all about trusting the process. It's all about whatever you're doing the right thing. Just keep going. And so just like that, I was like, okay, God, I'm going to follow it through. I'm going to follow up on that nudge. Like, it feels crazy. It feels like it's crazy. It's exciting, but it also feels right. And that's what I'm telling you. Like, we have to understand like this spiritual walk that we're doing with God. It's just that. It's a spiritual walk. It's not going to be logical. It's not going to make sense. It's not going to, it's just not going to make sense because it's spiritual. We're learning how to be spiritual beings. Eventually, the way that I'm talking to y'all, the way the stuff that I'm talking about, it's going to be common sense. Right now it's new because we're remembering. That's why we're having this whole spiritual awakening. That's why my generation are more spiritual than religious. It's because we're just waking up to remembering, oh, I'm a soul in a human body. And now we're learning to figure out how to do that and how to walk in that step. And that's exactly what this low key, this is what this whole series have been about. I thought that it was about how to become the alchemist of your life, but it really is all about how to become a spiritual being and how to do a spiritual walk with God. And the last thing that God is telling us is that we have to trust our intuition. We have to be the king of swords of our life. Angel number 1645. Every time I see this, what I tell y'all, who is this? Issa. Every time I see this, I see Issa. I see Issa about trusting your intuition. And the reason why I feel like every time I see this card, I see Issa is because it had to take clear fucking vision. It had to take her just trusting her intuition to do what she did. Nobody was even doing web series when she was doing it. She just had to trust. And now look at what she has. Nobody came up. Nobody took the path that she took. She just had to trust. And now look at what she's done. I'm sure when she was on her way, on her road to building the empire that she had there was times of doubts. There was people telling her she couldn't do it. There's people telling her that that's crazy. She's doing the impossible. 1750. I think I remember one time somebody was like, oh, you still doing those little shows? But she was focused. She became the king of swords of her life. She said, anything that takes me away from my intuition, anything that makes me doubt myself, I'm cutting it out of my life. Anything that makes me second guess myself, I'm cutting it out of my life because I have to stay focused on the empire that I'm building. And that's what God is saying. That's how you become one with your intuition. You just get locked in on being like, I'm doing this walk with God. I'm seeing this through. I don't care how dark it gets. I don't care where God takes me, where this leads me. I got to see it through. And I'm telling you guys, I'm telling this as somebody, I say this because I'm on this fucking journey. I had to literally the other day, I had to wake up praying, Mary, Mary, I can't give up now. Saying it to myself until I was crying. Because I can't give up now. It's like I literally have come too fucking far. It's like I can't undo the shit that I've done. Angel number 1858. And it's hard and it feels impossible. But I know that it's leading, my intuition, everything that I'm doing is leading me to the answers I seek. So I have to be focused. I have to be the king of swords in my life. The king of swords, people see her and they feel like she's heartless, but she's not heartless. She's just focused. She don't have time for the bullshit. The king of swords is really what people want to act like black women are. Like they want to act like black women, like we're so heartless, we're so out for self, and that's the last fucking thing we are. We're overgiving. We fucking put everybody over ourselves. We don't act like the king of swords or the queen of swords. We don't do that. Yeah, maybe with our heart. after we've been hurt so hard, we don't allow people to easily come into our heart, but we take on everything. And I feel like what God is saying, to do something to have what you've never had before, you have to do what you've never done before. I have an article on Honestly Sis that says, what if everything you thought was right was wrong? I had to look at myself, look at my life. And no matter how hard it is, and I'm telling y'all, it has been hard. The shit that I have been having to turn away to. Angel number 2022. The stuff that I had to say, no more. It's hard. It has been hard. But I have to ask myself, where am I going? Is this aligned with where I'm trying to be? And I had to tell myself that, you know what, God, to get what I've never had before, I'm going to do what I've never done. So everything that I used to do, I'm doing the exact opposite. If I used to always answer my daddy phone calls, not answer my daddy phone calls. If I used to always, like, I even had this rule that I don't do anything that start with a should. I should call him back. I should go over there. If should come up, I'm not doing it. Because obviously, you know, it's not genuine. But it takes a reprogramming. And that's what God is saying. You have to reprogram yourself to become the alchemist of your life. You have to, my friend told me, justice for understanding. My friend told me, I'm so proud of you. I look at you from when we was in college and who you are now, and I see you have completely transformed yourself. She told me you tore that shit off. She didn't say the hour. She said you tore that shit off. You tore these things away that no longer serves you. The only time that I can honestly say my dad has ever truly seen me is one day we were on Father's Day and we were driving in a car and he just said, I don't even know why he said it, but he's like, you're going to get everything that you want. And I was so happy in that moment because I'm like, you get it. You see me. I'm the type of person, I'm looking for an experience of life. I'm looking to experience the greatness of life and all that it has to offer. If something doesn't feel right to me, I can't do it no more. Me and my dad, our whole thing broke apart because he felt like, because he's from the South, the older sibling is supposed to damn near be the third parent. It's supposed to be the parent. It didn't feel right in my body. That didn't feel like my truth. And that's how you have to be. I'm on the relentless pursuit of my truth. I had to tell myself, I'm not trying to be famous to be famous. I'm not trying to write a book to fucking be famous. I'm writing it because I'm searching for happiness. This is what brings me joy. I have no choice but to be a writer. I have no choice but to walk this path because that's what makes me happy. That's what brings me joy. And anything that's going to take me away from that, it got to go. God is saying you have to understand that justice is on your side. This world, you see right here, she has the scales and she has that sword. So it's saying, think about all the ways that you have communicated to yourself. Think about the ways that you talk to yourself, right? Are they balanced with where you're trying to go? Are your actions in alignment with where you're trying to go? And that's what God is saying. Yes, there's going to be a period of where you're stumbling. You don't really know what you're doing. But if you just stay focused on your goal, eventually the scales are going to weigh and you're going to get your just due. God said you have to understand that this universe works in balance. So if you've experienced nothing but heartbreak, betrayal, backstabbing, all the worst shit of life, you ain't got no choice but to experience the better. That's why I don't understand. Like, I really feel like lately I've been waking up from like this fog because it's just like, Black people, we really run this shit. Like, y'all really have brainwashed us into thinking that we don't run this shit. I was watching High on the Hog, like, and then I was seeing the clip like, bitch, we did all this shit. Y'all wouldn't have the grain y'all have. Y'all wouldn't have the road y'all have. Y'all wouldn't have shit if it wasn't for my people. I was watching a movie the other day, and I'm like, how the fuck did they get us to think that white women look better than us? These bitches are basic. But they beat us down so much that we doubt ourselves, that we doubt our greatness. I had to tell myself, I'm not trying to be anything. The world is trying to be me. I don't have to try to do anything. What I naturally am is what the world is trying to be. And so God is saying, when you understand who you truly are, when you understand the just due, the karma that is due to our people, you will stop doubting yourself. You will stop moving around so fucking scary. You will realize, oh, this motherfucker is for me. This is our world to take. This is our time. If you ain't never been a time to be a black person, then now we are living in the best time to be a black person, because we're starting to see, oh, we run every fucking thing. What industry don't we run? Name one. How the fuck they got white people? Don't get me started. Top Chef my ass. The fuck? Y'all can't even cook. Y'all don't even know about seasonings. How are y'all the top chefs of the world? You see, this world has us so confused. They've denied us for so long. And this bitch is in chaos and disarray. And the only way it's going to get better is when we say, okay, baby, we'll help. We'll fix this shit. We'll put it up right. Because we're the chosen ones. And I don't even talk like that. But it's the truth. That's why they want to bring us down so bad. That's why literally, their whole fucking existence has been set up to try to stop us. On some fucking Neo shit. Like, for real. Why don't y'all look at that? These fucking racists, they so fucking scared that their time is running out, that their race is about to be extinct, that they doing everything possible. And what we do, we just feed right into it. We get them the power instead of looking at them as the pathetic, dying out pieces of shit that they are. These old motherfuckers is gonna be gone. This is our shit. It's our time. It's our era. It's our world. Clarity. God is saying, you need to make a choice. At every point of your journey, there's going to be a time where you are feeling this grief. We don't talk about it enough. We talk about becoming an alchemist. We talk about manifesting. We talk about changing our life. And it's always the good shit. But it's never about that bad shit. It's never about what it takes to be who you are. And in the shop, LeBron said something that was so true. And he said, you are going to have to take this walk alone. It's going to be a lonely motherfucking road. Because that's what we don't realize. Your life is your life. Your life and your life alone. Nobody's going to come and ask you, hey girl, are you okay? Do you feel like you live into your full potential? Do you feel like you live in the life of your dreams? Nobody's going to ask you that shit. Nobody's going to come and make sure that you're doing what you said that you wanted to do. Nobody's going to come and ask you if you even live in the life that you dreamed of. Nobody's going to ask you, oh, how your book going? No, ain't nobody asking me for this book. Number 2840. Nobody is ever going to be like, hey, Em, where's that book at? Are you writing this book for us? It's not going to happen. When Jay started, everybody was telling him, nobody want to hear that shit. Now look at him now. Now look at where he at. Did he change who he was? Did he doubt his intuition? Did he doubt where he was going? No. He knew, if I keep working, I'm going to get it. And I feel like he had that. I feel like what Jay was thinking, if I can figure out this drug shit, I know I can figure out this rapping shit. And that's the same way I look at it. If I could have figured out this corporate shit, if I could have been working at a public accounting firm at the age of 18 years old, I can figure out how to live out my motherfucking childhood dream. If I could figure out how to work the fucking matrix, I goddamn well sure can figure out how to get myself where the fuck I need to be. So God is saying, you need to have a clarity. You need to ask yourself, are you going to keep crying about what you had to leave behind? Are you going to keep crying about the cups that you had to let go? Or are you going to focus on where you're trying to go? That energy of constantly looking and being like, oh, I had to get this away. I had to let that person go. It's holding you back. Stay focused on where you're trying to go. Have a clarity. Because you're crying over, and that's the same, that was the message that we were talking about earlier. You're crying over what happened and what went wrong. And you're not even realizing you have 2 cups. You have 2 things to look forward to. God is saying, turn your attention elsewhere. He's saying, be obedient. Yeah, you're in a period. Shit feels upside down. Shit feels like it's everywhere. But you're in a holding period. God is saying, stay in this holding period. Stay grounded on where you want to be, so you can get this enlightenment. If you are obedient to your intuition, if you understand that justice is on your side, if you stay focused on where you're going and not what you had to leave behind, eventually the enlightenment will come. Eventually the blessing will come. Oh my God, I didn't even know. The sunshine will come. You will be in your season. The success will be here. You will be able to realize your childhood dream because you're walking in your truth. How beautiful is that? You got to be obedient in the waiting period. Obedient to where you are headed. Obedient to your intuition so that you can get to the success. Look how happy she is. And she's having this is a red flag, which means she's grounded in her joy, in her most truest self, because she's grounded. She knows her truth. She knows her light. And that's what God is saying. You don't know how you're going to get there. You like, God, I just want my life to be different. I just don't want to live how I'm living anymore. You may not even have anything you're working towards. God is saying, if you just make that declaration that, God, I want to be different. I want to move differently. I want to try this spiritual life. God is saying, the next thought, the nudge you get, I need you to follow through on it and keep following through and keep following through, no matter what you have to leave behind, because eventually the justice is going to be on your side. And when you have this moment of when you're feeling sad, use it to ask yourself, to give yourself clarity on, well, why do I feel this way? How did I get in this situation? And that's why I had to realize every single time I was feeling this grief and I was feeling sad, I had to be like, oh, but I know why I'm doing it. I know the reason why this had to happen. Because that person was no longer lying to me. That attitude, that belief, that whatever it is, I had to let it go. Beautiful, beautiful message. All right, God, let's just give us let's do 2 tools that we can use to wrap this one up, God. Give us 2 tools that we can use to trust our intuition, to understand that justice is on our side, to know that in those moments of doubt and grief that they're just here to give us clarity, to be obedient in the waiting period so that we can see our truth and walk in our power, God, to realize these childhood dreams, God. Give us the tools, 2 tools that we need to become the alchemists of our lives, God. This is the last one, God. Make it as plain as possible. Allow no room for doubt or confusion to enter our mind. How do we become the alchemists of our lives? I do have an idea for another series that I want to do, that I've been playing with. But I'm like, I don't know, like, oh, wow. I'm like, it's something that I've been like thinking about doing for a while, but I'm just like, I don't know. But I do have an idea for another series. I don't know if it's, I have to be obedient. I guess I'll see what my intuition says soon. All right, so let's do these real quick. What I want to focus on is what your intuition is. I want to harmonize with my desires. Anytime you feel a negative emotions, stop and say, something is important here. Otherwise, I will not be feeling this negative emotion. What is it that I want? And then simply turn your attention to what you do want. In that moment, you turn your attention to do what you want. The negative attraction will stop. And in that moment, the negative attraction stops. The positive attraction will begin. And in that moment, and in that moment, your feelings will change from not feeling good to feeling good. This is the pivoting process. And so that's what God is saying. Your intuition, I feel like it's not even your intuition, but it's like harmonizing with your desires so that you can trust your intuition. Yeah, I guess that does go hand in hand. Harmonizing with your desires so that you can learn to trust your intuition. And what God is saying is that you have to become, it goes back to what I was saying, you got to become one with your emotions. You got to always, be the king of swords of your life. When you are feeling a negative emotion, you have to ask yourself, why am I feeling this emotion? And turn your attention to what you do want. Like, it sounds simple. It sounds simple that we want to it sounds so simple that we want to overcomplicate it, but it really is as simple as that. Yesterday, like I was telling you, that happened to me. I recognized, like, it made me realize I want peace in every area of my life, how I want to feel in a job, how I don't, or how I don't want to feel on a job. I wrote about it. I did some yoga, and I definitely felt better. So this is something that can actually happen if you apply it. For understanding, it says I can have money and freedom too. And this is saying a feeling of being overwhelmed is your indicator that you are denying yourself access to the manner of cooperation that could assist you if you are not disallowing it. And so this is just letting you know, like, what God is saying, understanding your just due is that you can have money and freedom too. Like, a lot of this world wants us to feel like if you're not a doctor or a lawyer, then you can't. Well, actually, I guess that's not even true anymore, because we're seeing like YouTube stars and all of these kids and Instagram models becoming millionaires and millionaires overnight. So we're starting to understand that, you can have money and freedom too. But I feel like as Black people, that's something that we have to really get in our bones, and we have to like reprogram to ourselves and understand that we can have both freedom and money too. The last thing it says, as you begin to feel freer regarding the expenditures of time and money, doors and people will come to assist you. Refreshing and productive ideas will occur to you, and circumstances and events will unfold. And so what God is saying is, like, if you feel like, I don't have any help, or it's too late for me, God is saying again that negative feeling is coming up for you to recognize that, I do want to have a mentor. I do want help. It would be amazing if I could just, have a mentorship or partner with somebody who could actually help me bring my vision to light. Being on a job. Like, it's just like you're just, again, using those negative situations and really using it to get closer to where you're trying to go. So it's like, understanding that these negative emotions are just here to pivot you towards what you actually want. I can't say that again anymore. For clarity, with the 5 of Cups, it says nothing is more important than that I feel good. Again, this makes so much sense. God is saying, again, stop focusing on the negative, turn your attention to the positive. Anytime you feel a negative emotion, you are in the mode of resisting something that you want. And that resistance takes its toll on your body. It takes its toll on your physical body. And it takes its toll on the amount of wonderful things you allow in your experience. So look at that. 2 cards, actually 3 cards so far, just talking about this importance of understanding your feelings and understanding, not even just understanding your feelings, but using negative emotions to work toward, not even negative emotions. Yeah. Using negative experiences and emotion to work through them so that you can get to what you truly want. Cause it's like, if you just stay there, your energy is going to be there. But if every time something happens that irritates you or makes you feel a type of way, then ask yourself, like, why is this feeling? Like, why do I feel this way? Like, other day, very random, but like, I saw this picture of like Drake and some random girl, and it just got me so irritated. I'm just like, but why is it making me so irritated? And it's like, well, dang, maybe because I really like Drake, or maybe because I really want somebody like Drake, or, like, again, using these feelings to like get to the root of the problem. Okay. So again, God is saying, have that clarity, knowing that nothing is more important that you feel good. Take those necessary steps to cut people out of your life and set those boundaries. For obedience, we have appreciation and love appreciation and love are identical vibrations. I actually never read this card before, so let's read this. Appreciation and love are identical vibrations. Appreciation is the vibration of alignment with who you are. Appreciation is the absence of everything that feels bad and the presence of everything that feels good. When you focus upon what you want, when you tell the story of how you want your life to be, you will come closer and closer to the vicinity of appreciation. When you reach it, it will pull you towards all the things you consider to be good in a very positive way. And wow, I don't know if y'all be catching this. Y'all be catching this, but that's what God is saying. So you trust your intuition, you trust your emotions, whatever is bringing up for you. If you understand that, you know, your emotions are there to just get you closer to your dreams, then, I mean, this is pretty much saying, like, God is saying, anytime any negative emotion come up, you ask yourself, what is this trying to tell me? If you understand that it's only trying to get you closer to your goals, and so you pivot towards the things that you want, that is how you get closer and closer to that enlightenment that you want at the end of the day. That's why God is saying it's necessary for you to be obedient to harmonizing with your desires and to listening to your emotions and in your intuition. I really feel like emotions and intuition is like the same thing. Yeah. Last thing, do you understand this card though? With this, the hang one. So what God is saying is that while we're waiting for our blessings, while we're, you know, just in this in-between period, when negative things are coming up, if we just, every single time negative things come up, we just be like, okay, well, this is making me realize I want this, or I really want that. Or, you know, like, I keep telling you guys, you know, my job situation, I'm like, okay, I don't want to work in this type of environment. I want this type of environment, or I want to do this type of work, and I want to feel this way. God is saying eventually, after you keep doing that so much, it's going to take you to a period of enlightenment. And eventually you're going to completely pivot yourself into success. And the better it gets, the better it gets as you start walking in your truth. When you deliberately seek positive aspects, all of this is talking about why it's so important for you to feel your feelings, to look at the negative and turn your attention to the positive. When you deliberately seek positive aspects of whatever you are giving your attention to, in a sense, tune your vibrational tuner to more positive aspects of everything. And of course, you could tune yourself negatively as well, but let me start over. When you deliberately seek positive aspects of whatever you are giving your attention to, you, in a sense, tune your vibrational tuner to more positive aspects of everything. And of course, you could tune yourself negatively as well. But as you deliberately look for positive aspects in yourself or in others, you will find more of those things. The better it gets, the better it gets. For you get more of what you are thinking about, whether you want it or not. And so if you get nothing from this reading, if you get nothing from anything, I want you to hear, for you get more of what you are thinking about, whether you want it or not. So that's why God is saying it is so important for you to become the King of Swords and to harmonize with your feelings and your emotions and I'm not even like your feelings and your thoughts, like what you're thinking about. And so when you're feeling negative or when you're feeling sad, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What is this happening? Why is this doing it? If you do that, then it is eventually going to take you to a place. You're going to shift out of that vibration. And honestly, it's not even about, if you can't even think about it like shifting out of a vibration, like if that sounds too woo-woo for you, it's just going to make you feel better. Like, why would you want to it's just like this card says, you can tune yourself to negative stuff, or you can keep dwelling in negativity, or you could just be like, every time I'm feeling bad, nothing is more important than I feel good, and start directing your attention towards that. Like, just recognize it's your right. You are a spiritual being. It's your right to be happy. It's your right to have money and freedom too. You are not here to suffer. And if you just have that understanding and just know that you are meant to live out your wildest dreams, angel number 4340, God is saying eventually your sunshine will come, your just due will rain down, and it's all coming because you have the courage to stand in your truth. All right, y'all. I gotta go to the bathroom, so I'm gonna wrap this up. And this was coming to me, going back to conversations with God. Hopefully I can find it. Hopefully I can find it. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Look at that. God is crazy. I thought I was looking for one thing, but of course he sent me somewhere else. So this is going to be your final word. And of course, I'm coming from Conversations with God, and I'm just going to start here. I've heard this before, this there are no rules kind of religion. That's spiritual anarchy. I don't see how that can work. And so this is the author pretty much struggling with God, because God is trying to get him and get us to understand that he does not care how we live our life. And I know that sounds very hard for you to hear, but I just ask that you just look at this world, right? Look around you. It doesn't seem like evil is prevailing. It looks like the bad guys is winning. And it's because us, the good people, we're worried. Like, that's because they don't think like us. They're not worried about, oh, I can't do bad things. Like, we're so caught up in like, I mean, of course we're great people, but we're so caught up in being like, oh, is this the right thing? Are we feeling guilty? Am I like betraying God? And God is just like, just be yourself. Just be yourself. God doesn't care. You are the one who dictates. That's why God said it's the most important thing for you is to harmonize with your desires and what you feel is true for yourself. And nothing is more important that you feel good. The better it gets, the better it gets. God is saying, once you step in your power, and that's why I feel like God is saying, I feel like this word is coming about because I feel like it's somebody who's like me, who God is asking you to turn away from like your parents or turn away from the love of your life or whatever. And you feel like, the Bible says we have to honor thy parent and honor da 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 da. And you have to realize, where did the Bible come from? A lot of this information was given down to us. Like, where did Christianity come from? Christianity was given to us from slavery. And we have dictated our whole life on something that was given to us from slavery. And so the whole point of slavery was to control our mindset and to keep us living a certain type of way, right? So what God is saying, he needs you to trust your intuition. Trust what you feel is true for yourself to become the alchemist of your life. If you allow yourself to be the guide, to be your ruler, to be your priest and all that other stuff, then you will naturally become the alchemist of your life. Because you're trusting you and that power that's on the inside of you. You're tapping into that spiritual side of you. You're tapping into a power that is greater than this world. There is no way it cannot work if you are about the business of creating yourself. If, on the other hand, you imagine yourself to be about the task of trying to be what someone else wants you to be, the absence of rules or guidelines might indeed make things difficult. Yet the thinking mind begs to ask, if God has a way she wants me to be, why didn't she simply create me that way to begin with? Why all the struggle for me to overcome who I am in order for me to become what God wants me to be? That is the probing mind demanding to know, and rightly so, for it is a proper inquiry. The religious will have you believe that I created you as less than who I am so that you could have the chance to become as who I am, working against all odds, and I might add, against every natural tendency I am supposed to have given you. Among these so-called natural tendencies is the tendency to sin. You are taught that you were born in sin and that you will die in sin, and that is it your nature to sin. One of your religions even teaches you that you can do nothing about this. Your own actions are irrelevant and meaningless. It is arrogant to think that by some action of yours, you can get to heaven. There is only one way to heaven, salvation, and that is There is only one way to heaven, salvation, and that is through no undertaking of your own, but through the grace that is granted through you by God, through acceptance of his Son as your intermediary. Once this is done, you are saved. Until it is done, nothing that you do, not the life you live, not the choices you make, not anything you undertake of your own will, is an effort to improve yourself or render yourself worthy, has any effect, bearance, any influence. You are incapable of rendering yourself worthy because you are inherently unworthy. You created that way. So you hear what I'm saying? This is what God is saying. Our churches have told us that we were created in sin. We're going to live in sin. We have no choice but to be in sin. And so, of course, we tell ourselves that we can't possibly be like God. It's like we created this. Maybe, perhaps he didn't get it right. Maybe he wishes he could have it all to do over again. But there it is, what to do. You're making a mocking of me. No, you are making a mocking of me. You are saying that I, God, made inherently imperfect beings that have demanded them to be perfect or face damnation. You hear God saying, no, you're making a mockery of me. You're saying that I, God, made inherently imperfect beings. So this whole thing about us being made in sin and all that stuff, then demanded us to be perfect. So God is saying, I know that you're not going to be perfect. I know that you're going to fall short of the glory. That's the whole point of you being down here. You are saying then that somewhere several thousand years into the world experience, I relented, saying that from then on, you didn't necessarily have to be good. You simply had to feel bad when you are not being good and accept as your savior the one being who could always be perfect, thus satisfying my hunger for perfection. You are saying that my son, who you call the one perfect one, has saved you from your own imperfection, the imperfection I gave you. In other words, God's son has saved you from what the Father did. This is how many of you say I've set it up. Now who is mocking whom? This is the second time. I'm going to read this and this is it. This is the second time you seem to have launched a frontal attack on fundamentalist Christianity. I am surprised. You have chosen the word attack. I am simply engaging the issue. And the issue, by the way, is not fundamentalist Christianity, as you put it. It is the nature of God and of God's relationship to man. The question comes up here because we were discussing the matter of obligations and relations and in life itself. You cannot believe in any obligationless relationship because you cannot accept who and what you really are. You call a life of complete freedom spiritual anarchy. I call it God's great promise. You have no obligation in relationship. You have only opportunity. Opportunity, not obligation, is the cornerstone of religion, the basis of all spirituality. So long as you see it the other way around, you will have missed the point. Relationships, your relationships to all things, has created as your perfect tool in the work of the soul. That is why all human relationships are sacred ground. It is why every personal relationship is holy. In this, many churches have it right. Marriage is sacrament, but not because of its sacred obligations, rather because of its unequal opportunity. Never do anything in a relationship out of a sense of obligation. Do whatever you do out of a sense of a glorious opportunity, out of a glorious opportunity your relationship offers you to decide to be who you really are. Angel number 5252. And so, if that went over your head, what God is pretty much saying is that he doesn't ask us to do anything out of obligation. Oh, I got to go to church to be a good Christian. I got to give my money to this pastor to be a good Christian. God is saying, I didn't tell you, I didn't set those rules. I didn't tell you that you had to do any of those things. God is saying you have no obligation to this thing called life. You don't have to live a certain way in order to perform your way into heaven. And that's what he's saying here. There's nothing you can do to get your way to heaven. The only way you can get to heaven is by trusting yourself and becoming your true self. That's the only way you can please God. All these millionaires, billionaires that say they know God, they can spend that, they can come back down here and do it all over again. And that's why I want you to understand. There's no escaping God. There's no escaping this thing called life. God just told you right here. The only way to get to heaven is to go through him. And the only way to go through him is to go through yourself. Is to become yourself. God equals freedom. God equals love. This world wants us to feel like if there's no rules, then we're just going to be murdering and killing anybody. But that's not true. God is tired. God is tired of seeing us suffer. God is tired of us living less than what we deserve. The church has lied to us. Christianity has lied to us. Catholic, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. Whatever religion you're in, that's speaking of lack and limitations and restriction, they lied to you. We are here for joy and for freedom. We are here to literally create heaven on earth. And the only way it happens is by you trusting yourself and by you walking it out, by you bringing those visions that God brought to your life. You making the impossible possible. You being Issa and showing us a new way to do something. You being Issa coming through and fucking up industries. We're building new earth, guys. And God needs you to be true to yourself to do it. From this point on, everything that you do, it should be an opportunity for you to say who you really are. That's why you don't have to buy into racism. You don't have to buy into that negativity. Why would you become the very thing you hate? So you use those negative ass experiences and you say, oh, the world that I'm creating is free. The world that I'm creating is abundance for everyone. The world that I'm creating, nobody is enslaved. Nobody feel less than. Everybody feel equal. When you keep living that way, when you keep declaring that, the universe has no choice but to show you examples of that. And so what God is saying, he's telling you to demand to bring heaven on earth. Demand that you become the alchemist of your life. Demand that God shows you his power, that God shows you who he truly are. Demand that God uses you as a vessel. Turn away from this world. Turn away from what they're telling you you're supposed to be. And trust yourself. Trust the voice on the inside. I can't stress enough how important this time that we're living in. In his book, what I was looking for was the passage where he said, the thing about Jesus is he never even thought to doubt. When God was telling those people, go and be healed, turning water into wine, it's because he didn't even have a thought that it wasn't possible. He didn't even have a thought that it wasn't possible. And God is not asking us to have that much certainty. He has room for a little bit of wavering. But you have to know that it's possible to make the impossible possible. You have to trust that when those insights and your intuition is speaking to you and giving you guidance, you have to trust that the blood that has been shed for our ancestors, that all of this, everything, you have to look at the world so everything is love, everything is set up in your favor. If you do that, you can easily become the alchemist of your life. I feel like that's why there's not more, and I'm not keep going on, because I think that's it. It's that simple. 12 principles to bring heaven on earth. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is the physical me is materialized spirit. I've been saying this, y'all. We learning how to be spiritual beings. God is ready to show out. Even myself, I had to get past myself to show up and do this reading so that God can reveal himself through me. That's what we have to realize. We so used to, this world has taught us that the power is outside of us, but it's in us. We're all like Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz. Stop looking for God to move you physically when he's a spiritual being. Some say that you should not want money at all because the desire for money is materialistic and not spiritual. But we want you to remember that you are here in this very physical world where spirit has materialized. You cannot separate yourself from the aspect of yourself that is spiritual. And while you are here in these bodies, you cannot separate yourself from that which is physical or material. All the magnificent things of a physical nature that are surrounding you are spiritual in nature. That's what God is saying. He don't care what your dream is. I was again on my timeline and somebody was saying something about, oh yeah, I don't want to be famous. I don't give a fuck. I want to be famous. I want every motherfucker in this world to know my name. I want girls and boys on the dirt roads of North Carolina and India, everyone to know my name. I'm coming here for greatness. I'm coming here to leave my mark on this world. I'm coming and I want to be a billionaire. Because that's off of my creations. I want to make billions of dollars. And I know people want me to look at that and they want to make me feel sad for that. But no, I know what I'm using my billions for. I know what I'm using my fame for. I'm doing this to bring heaven on earth. I'm doing it to help create new earth. I'm doing it to show you how you really fucking do it. I'm doing it to show those billionaires and all those people who's been running the world how real God get down. Okay? All right, y'all. That's all the messages I have for you. I really, truly hope it was beneficial for you. We are done with the Alchemist series. Y'all, I'm so grateful for that word because I already was feeling it, but now I really feel it. I am locked and loaded, y'all. I'm just focused. I'm getting in the gym. I'm ready to bring these dreams about, and I hope you are too. So if that is your hope and that is your wish, I wish it on to you, and I will see you at the top. Until we meet again, dream those dreams. Never let the internet rush you, and never, ever let someone tell you what you cannot do. Mwah, mwah, mwah. See y'all at the top, baby. We almost there. New Earth. Bye-bye.